All right, let's talk about something we've all heard a million times in the kitchen. Fresh is always best. But what if one of the biggest nutritional shortcuts you could take doesn't come from the fancy produce aisle, but from a simple can? Today, we are cracking open the secrets of the humble canned tomato. You know how it goes. We all go to the store with the absolute best intentions, right? We buy all this beautiful fresh produce. But let's be real. How much of it actually ends up on our plate before it's, well, a little too late? Is fresh really the undisputed king of healthy eating? Because way too often, the reality of fresh is a sad, forgotten tomato getting mushy in the back of the fridge, just waiting for the compost bin. But on the flip side, you've got the can. It's always there for you, packed with nutrients and ready to go any day of the year. It's that practical reality we're going to dive into. So let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is this hidden gem we keep in our pantry? It's actually super straightforward. Canned tomatoes are just tomatoes picked at their absolute peak of ripeness, given a quick blast of heat to preserve everything, and then sealed up tight in a can or a jar. You've seen all the kinds: diced, crushed, whole, pureed, usually just packed in tomato juice, maybe with a little bit of salt. Okay, now here is where the story gets really, really interesting. You know, we're all trained to think processing is this big, bad word. But for tomatoes, that processing, that's where the magic happens. See, that heating process actually breaks down the tomato's tough cellular walls. And when that happens, this incredible antioxidant called lycopene gets released, and it becomes way easier for our bodies to absorb. So in this case, the processing literally unlocks the nutritional power that was trapped inside. So how much of a difference are we talking about here? Well, get this. A single cup of canned tomato puree can deliver over 54 milligrams of this super usable lycopene. That is a powerhouse dose, the kind that's been linked to some major health benefits. And when you put them head to head, comparing the lycopene your body can actually use, the difference is just stunning. The amount you get from fresh, raw tomatoes is totally dwarfed by what you get from canned tomato puree. I mean, it's not even a close race. And this isn't just theory or numbers on a chart. We're talking real-world results. Consistent research has tied a higher intake of cooked tomato products to some pretty amazing health outcomes. Things like a lower risk for certain cardiovascular events and, this is a big one, a reduced risk for prostate cancer in several major studies. It's a true cornerstone of a diet that's good for your heart. Okay, but it's not a complete fairy tale, right? Of course not. Like any convenient food, there are a couple of things you want to watch out for. But the good news? They are all totally manageable once you know what you're looking for. The number one thing to watch is sodium, and the difference between cans can be massive. A no-salt added version might only have about 20 milligrams of sodium, but a regular can of stewed tomatoes can rock it up to over 400 milligrams. The lesson here is so simple. You've just got to read the label. There are a few other quick things to keep on your radar. If you're concerned about can linings, just look for the BPA-free label, or you can opt for glass jars. Also, take a quick peek at the ingredients to watch out for hidden sugars, especially if you're buying those pre-flavored sauces. And yeah, to be totally fair, the heating process does reduce the vitamin C content, so fresh tomatoes still get the win on that one specific nutrient. Okay, let's take all of this great info and turn it into real action. Here is your simple, easy-to-follow guide for your next trip down the grocery aisle. Choosing the best can really come down to an easy three-step check. First, check that label for sodium. No salt added is always your best bet because you get to control the salt. Second, read the ingredients list. You want it to be short and simple, ideally just tomatoes. And third, pick your package. BPA-free cans or glass jars are perfect choices. And once you get them home, you can boost the benefits even more. First, always cook them with a healthy fat, like olive oil. That lycopene is fat-soluble, which is just a fancy way of saying that little step helps your body absorb way more of it. Second, combine them with other powerhouses, like garlic, onion, and herbs. And here is a fantastic pro tip. If you ever accidentally grab a high-sodium can, just rinsing the tomatoes can wash a ton of it away. So when you boil it all down, what's the final call? Honestly, I think this quote from our source material says it perfectly. This is the key takeaway. Canned tomatoes are a nutritious, convenient, and cheap pantry staple that can actually give you more of that usable lycopene than fresh, raw tomatoes. So that really just leaves us with one final question. The next time you're staring at your pantry, are you going to see that humble can of tomatoes in a completely new light? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.